So we're going to do the self-massage, and before we start I just want to give you a few pointers at how to make sure you're in the correct part of the abdomen, because the womb and ovaries are actually much lower than you might think. So first of all, with the ovaries, to find them, if you put your thumbs in the navel and make a triangle with your index finger and just allow your other fingers to span out so that your little fingers are just inside the hip bones, and that is where your ovaries are likely to be. Sometimes they can be slightly shifted from there, but the common place is for them to be there, and that's quite low down, especially as your pubic bone is just the top of your pubic bone there, your hip bones here, they're really quite nestled in that lower pelvis. For the womb, most of the womb is tucked behind the pubic bone, so first find your pubic bone. So you can see here with the skeleton here that this is the top of the pubic bone, and most of the womb is tucked behind the pubic bone, but the very top of the womb can be accessed above by going in through above the pubic bone, and that's what we're going to be doing with the massage. So you want to make sure you're in that lower pelvis when you're working over the womb and ovaries. So we're just going to use some oil on the belly. You can also do it through clothing. But if you're using oil, make sure it's a cold pressed pure oil like coconut oil, almond oil or olive oil, and make sure that it's unscented. So just warm the oil between your hands. And just start with your hands rested on the belly, allowing the belly to rise and fall, just taking some nice deep breaths. Make sure that your knees are raised so that you're relaxing the muscles above the womb and ovaries. And then just start by massaging in some big circular strokes around the whole belly button, going around the whole abdomen. And always make sure you're going in a clockwise direction, because that's the direction that the intestines run in the abdomen. It's much more comfortable to do it that way. Then you're going to move down to this lower abdomen over where the ovaries are, and you're going to make some small circles between the ovaries, back and forth. This can be a little tender around ovulation, and if that is the case, just make sure you go lighter. And if it's tender at any point for any other reason, just go lightly. The massage should never be painful. So just massaging back and forth, hip bone to hip bone. The next part is the scoops above the pubic bone on the top of the womb. So if you find the top of your pubic bone, that bony ridge, and you're going to be working just about a centimetre above that in the soft fleshy part. So put all your fingers along the top of that ridge and just allow the fingers to sink into the soft fleshy part, sink in and scoop up about halfway to your belly button. Then you circle back down, sink in and scoop up, circle back down, sink in and scoop up. Then you're going to come to the side position, so 2 finger widths in from your hip and just that top edge of the pubic bone again, so your little fingers just running along the top of that, and you're going to sink in and scoop across. If that's uncomfortable, you can also sink in and scoop diagonally to the opposite hip bone. Sinking in and scooping across, sinking in and scooping across. Then you're just going to come to the other side, so 2 finger widths in from the hip bone, just above the pubic bone. You're just going to sink in and scoop across, sink in, scoop across, sink in and scoop across. If you've got time, you can repeat another 2 rounds of this, so 3 scoops up, 3 scoops across, 3 scoops across, and a final round. And each time you can sink in a little bit deeper if your body feels comfortable with that. Then we're going to move up to where the ribs meet, at the solar plexus. Now this can be very tender because it's where we hold a lot of emotion, so if it is tender for you, make sure you go gently with yourself. So we're just going to bring all the fingers to the solar plexus and just gently sinking in and scooping all the way down to the belly button. Coming up again, sinking in, keeping that depth and scooping down to the belly button. Circling back, sinking in, keeping the depth and scooping to the belly button. Then we're going to come up to the ribs, and we're just going to span the fingers along underneath the ribs, and we're going to sink in and scoop to the belly button. And this really helps the liver and gallbladder. So we're sinking in, scooping to the belly button, sinking in and scooping to the belly button. If that feels uncomfortable, you can use one hand, so you could sink in with one hand and scoop, or you could use the heel of your hand to scoop in that way. So just coming off the rib and scooping. Then we're going to come to the other side, to the left side, and you're going to be working over the stomach and the spleen, and again sinking in, scooping to the belly button, sinking in and scooping, and sinking in and scooping. Or as before, you can use the heel of the hand, just coming off that rib and scooping. And again, you can repeat this if you've got time, so you could do another 2 rounds, so going down 3 times, across 3 times and across 3 times, and then repeating a final round. Then we're going to come to the small intestine, which surrounds the belly button, and you're going to do small circular motion around the belly button, almost like a daisy chain, as if you were drawing a flower around your belly button. And then you can just gently make the circles bigger, so you're encompassing more of the belly in your moves. Until you're back as you started. Nice big circular strokes of the whole belly in the clockwise direction. And then to end, you can just place one hand over your womb, one hand over the centre of your chest, over the heart chakra, and just take some nice breaths here.